Hey everyone, welcome back to part 2 of the Gambler's Fallacy. I am so sorry. I made a mistake whenever I put the first video up on the Gambler's Fallacy, and I made it through part of the first 4 points of the Gambler's Fallacy, and then I left you hanging on point 4 and never got to point 5, and somehow, I'm not sure what I did with my editing, but I cut it off. And interestingly enough, though, that video was of great interest to quite a few people, and so I didn't want to pull it off and re-edit the video and lose all of those connections. So I've created this second video for those of you who really like the first one and you want to continue. If you didn't see the first video on the Gambler's Fallacy, this one may mean nothing to you, but just in case, let me give you a little bit of background here. The Gambler's Fallacy is a logical fallacy where a person believes that just because I've been trying something over and over and over and over again, my chances are better the next time. You've seen this in casinos, perhaps, where a person is at a slot machine, they just keep pulling that slot machine or pressing the button. Sorry, that's old school slot machine, I guess. And they're just thinking, okay, this is bound to pay off now. It hasn't paid off for a long time, but the odds actually reset each time that you're playing the game. And so your chances aren't better just sitting there. But we convince ourselves they are, and we do it in many aspects of our lives. So in the last video, I walked you through a series of ways that you can try to mitigate this gambler's philosophy. I talked about labeling each attempt as an independent attempt, where you treat each clue or each attempt as a separate scenario, a situation, and the odds kind of reset the next time that you try it. So kind of labeling that in your mind, keeping track of the process. I talk about documentation. You can check out the other video on that one. The third one I talk about is picturing the breadth of true randomness. So for example, the example that I gave in the prior video is the Forest Fen treasure hunt. There are these people looking for a treasure in the Rocky Mountains, and you've maybe looked 100 places, so you're convinced, well, my chances must be better if I look in place 101. But if you put it in perspective and realize that there are tons of other people out there searching as well, there have been far more than 100 places that people have looked for. And just the one more attempt, you're not really increasing your chance that much unless you have some real evidence leading you to a specific location. Just random guessing isn't going to get you anywhere any faster. And then the fourth one, where I caught off last time, was on noticing the gambler's self-talk. So when you start finding yourself using language like, I'm bound to find it. If I just keep looking a little bit longer, I'm bound for this or that. Now, part of that is this lesson of persistence and determination. You want to keep going and looking, yes. But what I'm talking about here in the gambler's fallacy is you just keep thinking that trying over and over again, even if it's a similar thing or a sort of similar approach, and it's not really informed by new evidence or anything like that, that you think you're going to get a better result, and you won't. So that's where you want to catch that self-talk and change it to language that's more objective, like, well, I've looked here and here and here. I wonder what steps I can take to increase my chances of finding it in the future. What can I do differently? How do I adjust? How do I adapt? And then let's go to the fifth one. Then the fifth and the final one is to pause before reacting to what's sometimes called streak frustration. So when your emotions rise and you've had these repeated attempts and these failures, you're going to have your emotions start taking over. And sometimes we just get caught up in just trying things almost mindlessly over and over again, rather than stepping back and getting into that more analytical part of our brain, stepping back from the emotions. And so time is really helpful in navigating fallacies and cognitive biases that involve emotion. So give yourself a break. Literally just take a break, 5, 10-minute break, 15-minute break, something like that. Allow yourself to kind of reset, and then you can kind of re-engage and decide what you want to do next. There you have it. You try those 5 things, and they can definitely help you reduce the negative impact of the gambler's fallacy.